Before I get started into, this episode of 7 and 8 of Captivating the King, I really want to know what he was thinking when he saw Muna and the girl hugging, because he was in a good mood, and then when he saw them, he got angry. And even his right hand man saw them hugging, and then his eyes lit up. So I really want to know what he's thinking, because is it because he's seeing two men hugging, or what was he thinking? Or is it because he's what are they conspiring against him? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another review on the Review Garden. So, in the period pieces, I guess it would be a crime or a misconduct to hug another person. And I guess to hug another person in front of the king, or to hug another person without their approval. Interesting. The king getting mad at the two of them for being close is weird to me, because he's like, oh, he showed you a shortcut to get to the Baduk place. But I'm like, the only reason she didn't want to share that with him, but the only reason he showed her the shortcut was because the girl, her best friend's brother, was on the grounds, and he didn't want her to run into him dressed like that. And the only reason that man is even still alive after being a traitor 3 years ago is because you let him be. So, because the king let him be. So, what are you talking about? It's time for the king to start taking accountability for all his actions. You can't just be blaming her for everything, and then after that, you not taking accountability for what role you played in it. Was it intentional for her to come back as Mongwu and be recognizable to everyone? Because it's not making sense to me. Why would you want to come back for revenge and then everyone knows who you are? Everyone is like, oh, you should be dead. You should have died 3 years ago. You were imprisoned 3 years ago. It's not making sense to me how she's just going back and everyone is realizing who she is. Your intent is right there. And even the king's right-hand man tried to tell the king, what if she's back for revenge? And he's like, well, I let Mongwu die once. I'm not going to let anything happen to him this time around. I'm going to protect him. Okay. I want to see that happening. Okay? Because your words from the beginning is not matching your words now. So let's see if you're actually going to keep your word. These people are willing to kill a young boy because of power. Because technically, he's the one who was supposed to take power, because he's the son of the late king. But the grand prince at the time, so the king's brother, took the reins because he wanted to find out who killed the king, who killed the late king. But these people are willing to do all types of things just to remain in power. That is, I mean, I guess that was the mentality back then. That is still the mentality right now, and not just in these series, but everywhere. Power, like, people crave power all the time, and they're willing to do anything to get it. But it's just the way they go about it is just crazy to me. And now we're hearing that, the king might suspect his mom's brother as the killer, the one who's been poisoning the king. So, I don't know. Like, we have to come back to that part, because who actually poisoned him? Because someone was putting something in his tea, was poisoning his tea all this time. So who did it? Who could have wanted him gone so badly? And the uncle was one of them. The mom, the current king's mom, was another one. So it's one of them, or someone else from the king's aides. So who knows? I've come to the realization that these people that are supposed to be tailing someone in this series, they're not very good at it. The one that was supposed to be tailing Mr. Yu, I'm like, you are walking way too close to the two of them. If you backed up a little bit, he wouldn't have been able to catch you and trick you. Like, you're following not the right person. He was able to get away and go do his crime league. And back in previous episodes, the ones that were following her home, and they were pretending that, she was a lord coming home. Like, you guys are not good if they're able to pick you out that quickly. We find out the identity of the person inside the palace that was helping her. Because back in the episode when she returned 3 years later, there was the voice of someone, telling her what's going on in the king's palace. So we find the identity of that person midway episode 7. My thing is, they better not let anything happen to her. They sometimes, like, when they find her identity, they're going to like, I just hope that nothing happens to her and she makes it to episode 16. Okay? So for the past 3 years, every time they've had the rights for the late king, the current king would always be doing like these outbursts. And that scene with him dropping the water, I'm guessing it's hot water, and then it hit the court maids. I'm like, what is wrong with you? So apparently every year since then, he's been throwing these tantrums. And apparently this year, the guy was telling Mong-woo that he should be fine. Like, they're thinking he's going to be okay. So was he really doing that because of the late king? Because of how he felt because of the late king? Or because of what happened with Mong-woo? Like, is that what he's thinking about every time, they do the rights things? Like, he's Like he's angry at the fact that he let that happen to Mongwu. And now that Mongwu came back, suddenly he's not gonna have that problem anymore. I wonder if that's what it's about. And around that same time is also the best friend's memorial as well. And they were talking about it, and like she's not buried anywhere, and like there's no memorial place for her. But the Master Shu, I think it is, the one who lost the eye, he goes to the temple and is praying for her every time on her memorial. Now let's skip to that fighting scene. So setting the scene. Mr. Yu had someone push Mongwu into the fighting ring. And then she fought the first guy. Mongwu fought the first guy. And then the second guy was like, oh, you were acting so high and mighty. Let's continue. But then when the king steps in, you don't want to continue. You were also acting high and mighty. He told you, go ahead, hit me. And you can't. Like, you were acting so tough. But now you can't because it's the king. He told you, step on it. So go ahead and do what he asked you to do. And that's funny to me because the king stepped in and, kind of, quote, saved Mongwu because the other guy was about to, like, beat Mongwu up. So Mongwu got hurt during the fight, and now she has to get treated by the royal physician. And the king let her enter, his chambers, which is not supposed to be done because they were outside saying, what? He let her go in? What? I mean, he let Mongwu go in? So, but yeah, so this just brings us back into like the Mulan moment where like Mulan got injured and was taken care of, and they find out that she's a woman. So, is he going to find out that she's a woman right then and there? I mean, she is refusing to get treated. So is she just going to let it slide, or is she going to actually get treated? So I think my reasoning was right. Like the reason he was going crazy or going insane in during that time, because the guy was like, oh, the drizzle or the rain causes the king to go insane, is probably because he was thinking about Mongwu at that time. The fact that, he let that happen to Mongwu. So now I don't think the drizzle is going to have, the insane feeling about it because Mongwu came back. So at the end of episode 7, the king tells Mongwu that he likes he likes him. Well, we're going to have to say him because in the king's mind, it's a man. So it's kind of interesting to see. So they cut it there, but is he going to be like, as a friend, or like, where is this going? So his feelings are for Wong Hu as a man. This kind of reminds me of that other show. I don't remember what the name is, but it was the one where I saw it already, but it was the one where, they were twins and the boy was killed and the girl pretended to be the king, and then her teacher was started falling for her, but he thought he was falling for the king, but in reality she was just the girl pretending to be the king. So it's kind of giving that same vibe. Like, okay, so the king is interested in a man, and in that time period, pretty sure it's frowned upon. Okay, so I went and looked it up. The other show was called The King's Affection. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It's called The King's Affection, which is kind of given the same vibe of, them being attracted to a man, but the other one's not really a man, it's a woman. I wonder if she's going to be able to achieve her goal, because she came back with the intent to get revenge on the king, right? But after the king said, "I like you," she's starting to get flustered. So how is she going to be able to do that if she starts to falling for the king again? So it's like, ooh, is that the direction that this is going? Like, where's the series going? These scenes are always so funny to me because everyone is thinking like it's two men that are interacting like that, and the king is putting on the flirts as they're playing. And you have the right hand man that he is just standing there shaking his head like, what is happening here? Like, what are you doing? You should not be doing that. So it's definitely those types of funny yet awkward, they're like funny, awkward moments in this show right now. And I'm just loving it. It's so good. And you have the rumor going around that the king is interested in men. So like everyone is hearing about it. So those court officials, they're going to try to do something about it to, put the rumor to bed. And then I'm guessing they're going to try to get the king's wife involved in this whole situation. But I wonder who's going to find out that, Mong Wu is a woman first. Because we already know Mona is the only one that's in the palace that knows about her. Well, he's not the only one. There's her inside person that also knows that she's a woman. But I wonder who's going to find out first and what are they going to do about it? And if people find out later on, what are they going to do? It's funny, to get their way, they're always like, that is a royal command. But, I mean, I don't understand what the court lady is asking. Maybe I missed the translation or something, but I don't understand what she's asking him. She's like, either dismiss me from my post or so she doesn't want to be the main court lady anymore, or she's like, or bed me, like let me spend the night with you. And I'm like, what? She's like, because people have lost credibility that she's gotten close to him because of all the rumor going around that the king is attracted to men. And I'm like, first of all, the king is only attracted to one quote man, which is Meng Wu. Okay, he's not attracted to all man. And I don't understand what that has to do with her. If anybody would be like, oh, they haven't claimed, the king's affection, it would be his own wife, the one he's married to. That would be the person that they would be like, oh, so this whole time they never spent the night together, or even if they spent the night together, they didn't do anything. So I don't understand her request. And he's denying that request, and he wants the main court lady to stay by his side and to get her way to be to have a night with the king. The main court lady goes to the king's mom and is like, and she's like, please remember the promise you made to me, because 3 years ago she gave her the thing to signify that she would be a concubine for the king. But I'm like, even if the end game is for the king and Yisu to be together, he's not gonna want, I mean, I hope, but he's not gonna want a concubine. Like, so it's just crazy to me. Like when you think of their mentality, I guess back then it was okay to do that, but I feel like the ones who really truly love their wives, even though the concubines are there, they wouldn't really do anything with them. Or at least I hope that's the case. Wait, so what exactly did he agree with his mom to do? Did he agree to spend the night with the court lady and in front of his wife? Okay, so I'm just calling her his wife because his mom literally called her, your highness. And I'm assuming that's why she's the daughter of one of the three main guys. So it's the three main guys. One is his uncle, one is the king's uncle, one is the new war person, and then the other guy, I don't know what his title is, but he's the one working with Mr. Yu. So it's his daughter. So I'm guessing that's his wife, because they keep calling her, your highness, but she's very sick. So she has to arrange the night for the king and the main court lady, because the king's mom was like, it's the queen's duty to be in charge of the king's bedchambers. What does that mean? And the girl is sick. She is sick. She's like, she gets weak every day. You could see it on her face. Like, her face doesn't have any color at all. And you're telling her to go arrange for her husband to go sleep with someone else. That's crazy. When I tell you this show is so funny, Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. I mean, of course, there are some serious moments, but there are some parts that are just hilarious. Like the whole part about the bet that they had, because they were like, oh, there's rumors going around that the king is attracted to men. And then Meng-Wu made a bet with him and was like, oh, if you hear the rumor and you laugh, you win. And then if you don't laugh, then I win. So they went around town trying to hear people say the rumor, but they weren't finding anyone. And then he ordered his right-hand man to go fetch a rumor, which was funny because he was like, how you gonna go fetch a rumor? So then when he left, he's like, if he told Meng-Wu, like, if you were a woman, I'd marry you. And then like, as he's saying that, there are two ladies walking behind them talking about the rumor. And he was just both of them were just so immersed into what he just said that, he didn't have a reaction to what the two ladies behind them were saying. And to me, I think that, because of this, Meng-Wu won the bet because he didn't laugh at what was being said about him. And then after that, that's why I'm like, the king is not attracted to men. He's attracted to one, quote, man, and that's Meng-Wu. So like when they were going back to, I'm guessing back to his chambers, he tried hugging his right-hand man and, trying to figure out if he was attracted to him too. And then once he realized what the king was doing, he was like, don't you ever test that theory on me again. It's so funny. He got all these people looking for him, looking for Meng-Wu on the night that he's supposed to, sleep with the head court lady. And the head court lady really got on my nerves because why? Like, he told you he didn't want to. And you went to his mama and told his mama, oh, make him do it. And you're getting mad that he doesn't want to do it with you. And on the same night, he finds out that, quote, Meng-Wu is missing. Obviously, nothing's going to happen, and Meng-Wu's over there falling asleep on the streets while drunk. Like, what kind of BS is that? Imagine what his mom is going to say. Instead of spending the night with the court lady, you spent the night with a man? What? So he finds out that she is a girl. Oh my gosh. He finds out that Meng-Wu is a woman. And the way he found out was like, okay, so you bring her to the house and then you're like, oh, she can't sleep like this because, let me take off Meng-Wu's hat. Let me help her with the robe. And then as he's taking off the robe, that's crazy to me. I mean, is it because you're king, you could just unrobe someone else, like regardless of sex, but unrobe them? So then, as he's doing that, Meng-Wu wakes up and was like, no, don't do this. And then he was like, why not? It's like, are you by chance what? And then he like opens up her robe and sees that she has the wraparound. And I'm just like, oh my God. So then this man doesn't even know how to feel. He's like, oh, what? What? I told you I would kill you the moment I see deceit. Da, da, da. And then she's like, I just have one wish. And he's like, I thought you weren't going to beg for your life. Da, da, da. And then she kisses him. I'm like, what? I mean, that was rarely a kiss. She most like, she just like touched her lips against his. And this man does not know how he's feeling. 1 second, you're a man, and then the next second he finds out you're a woman. And then they just start making out. So I mean, I guess he got to spend the night with somebody, you know? But I wonder, okay, so this is the end of episode 8. They cut it off with them kissing. So now what's going to happen? We are like halfway through the series. What is going to happen now that he finds out that she's a woman? Is he going to, keep having her pretend? I mean, that's gonna be the best way for him to go about it, I don't know. And what's going to happen when he finds out, her true identity as a woman, who her father is, So, so that's it for the review and reaction for episodes 7 and 8. And this week we get 4 episodes. So they released episode 9 and 10 already. So you will be having 2 sets of reviews this week for Captivating the King. So join me again next time for the review and reaction for episodes 9 and 10. And this wraps up our journey on the Review Garden. Thank you for joining me today as we explored this drama. If you enjoyed this reaction and review, please remember to subscribe for more insightful videos. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps our channel grow. As always, I'm truly grateful for your support and for joining me on this journey on the Review Garden. Until next time, and happy listening. Bye.